natural background there.
And with the benefits of a little thing called pre-roll. I pressed the button after the gentleman walked past, but we've got him on camera, Roy.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Roy Young, governor here at, well, I kept calling it Seven Lakes Angling. The place is now called Seven Lakes Fishery.
As from tomorrow officially.
Whoa.
Cool. But yes, this weekend is all about obviously relaunching the lakes as well as promoting Ellen's fishing, our young 11-year-old superstar.
Yes, and the flaming smile on her face when she revealed that her PB was very close to her dad's. Dad reveals his PB, and she puts this little look goes across her face of, I'm going to beat him.
She puts some of the adults to shame, I think, and her passion. Yes. And I think that's what really drives us is her passion, because it's so important to capture that passion and and keep it ignited.
Instill at a young age.
Instill in them at a young age and moving them forward so that they're still interested in fishing into adulthood, because at the end of the day, the youngsters are the future of fishing, aren't they?
Oh, tell me about it.
And without the youngsters, we don't have a business in 20 years' time. So it's so important for us to actually to promote them. So
it's funny because I was guilty of being I was so trying not to be, but and you've got your very own equipment, and it was like serious bivouac and all the kit that she needs, and it was like, yes, like as if you silly grown up, of course I have. She was awesome. She's
already after the latest gear. She's got one thing, but she's always looking for the next. Just like all your tackle tarts. And
absolutely, calling an 11-year-old girl a tackle tart, that's politically incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely. Cut.
No, but this was actually something which is a thing that Kevin Nash definitely engendered. He's sleeping in the garden. It's a huge thing. It's got what's called lake camo on it, and there's an Easter egg of a fish carp in there somewhere. I haven't looked, but on the label there's all the labels. And there's like, I've got to have this model.
Yeah, got the latest model.
And having a female person involved in trendiness is super cool. But anyway,
absolutely.
I'm going to zoom on in the distance beyond you there. There's some serious earthworks gone on there. You were telling me that you had a Hungarian fellow that let's just zoom past you there that was driving this here thing.
We did.
And that it actually floated on the silt in the bottom of the lake, because this has been drained, hasn't it?
Yeah, we hired a machine, a floating digger, and a driver to actually drain the lakes. We hired a guy to drain. Once we drained the lakes,
yes,
we
want to remove the silt so that there's clearer water and more depth.
We left the silt in there actually, but he removed snags of tree stumps. We had some huge tree stumps,
yes,
and there was lots of trees laid down in the water. They'd been left in the water from day one. This used to be a stream running through the valley,
yes.
So when it was filled, it was just full of trees. Actually, I've got a picture of dead trees out of the water.
Gotcha.
So they've been there for over 40 years, and he cleared them all out in about a week.
Whoa!
Which was just phenomenal. This guy really knew how to use this machine, and
he cleared it all. Likes to stand and watch.
I could have watched it all day. It was just something else to see. Yeah, it was a real skill.
So Seven Lakes Angling is now Seven Lakes Fishery, because you put the labour in to say, yes, this is now a maintained fishery instead of a place what filled up and what we can catch fish and how fabulous they are, because the fish love it.
It's more representative of what we are and what we want to be going forward, really.
Lovely. What a gorgeous weekend for it as well.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, we couldn't have a better weekend, could we? The sun's shining.
Yes.
Everyone's getting a bit of a tan. And
tell us about Seven Lakes quickly, Roy, because for those who don't know, obviously we're here at the country park. Is it called Paces? P-A-I-C-E-S. Paces.
P-A-I-C-E-S. Paces Wood, yes. Country Parkland. We own all of this land. And we own the industrial estate up here as well.
You're the landlord.
We're the landlords of the industrial estate.
That would explain a lot.
Yes. So as part of our planning permission,
yes.
We had to. It was a gravel pit originally. We got planning to put industrial units up, and as part of that planning, we actually had to restore the land, do lots of landscaping, grading, planting of trees.
And since you wanted to actually create a fishing lakes, that was
we'd
love to.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a pain in the nose.
We were very lucky, because my grandfather created these lakes by damming the stream down the valley. So he put a series of dams which created this series of 7 lakes, and unfortunately, having left the trees in, it made it very snaggy. But it was
one heck of a natural environment.
Very much so, very much so, but not great for the fish if they got people
Back
got
then,
snagged up.
folks weren't casting to the horizon, and they were mostly fishing for floats and straight down. And
absolutely. So
and
it
that
was
would have been
really popular in the days when Cemex, or leisure sport as they were in the day, which were latterly Cemex, they leased the lakes off of us.
They were that good that they actually leased lakes off it, even though they only existed as a fishery thing because they dug so many holes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There were lots of they had a lot of lakes.
Yes.
And
so many people wanted to fish
it
with
was
them
so
that they
popular that if you didn't get here in first thing in the morning, then you wouldn't get a swim.
Wow.
And that's what we're aiming to get back to. You know, we're trying to build it back to that. So,
I've been to a couple of fisheries lately for the angling weekly that I work for, doing the where to fish thing.
Yeah.
Where it's a bit like that. In fact, I was in the fishery office and the bloke came in and he was a bit disgruntled. It was 7:30 in the morning and he couldn't get a swim next to his mate and he wanted his money back and he was a little bit vexed and you could hear him, but he wasn't very happy about it. Other places were dead. Right. So you know it's about how they're treated, and I gather you've got other facilities planned to go here too. We have, yes. I mean, obviously, this is just the start, getting the lakes restored. Fishery first. Fishery first. Facilities
looking after the fish. The fish husbandry is important. The fish welfare.
I've been hearing about that as well. Fish being moved about such that you've got crucians and tench and silvers, carp being moved around because you've got the luxury of 7 waters.
Absolutely.
And I'm accusing you of knowing what you're doing.
Well,
yes,
I
third generation, Mr. Young. That's so cool.
Third generation.
You're bailiffs too. You don't get to bailiff at Seven Lakes unless you're born into it, do you? Or related.
We've got a really good team. We've got a really good team of bailiffs.
I've been talking to him today. You're ahead of your good self, and it's like. Well, and the chap was saying, "Oh yeah, I remember I caught my first." I thought he was talking about catching one of the stock tench because it was quite clear just the other day.
Yeah.
No, it was when he was 5.
Yeah, yeah. We get an awful lot of fishermen who used to fish here in the days of Cemex and leisure sport, and are just coming back to it now and saying how they used to fish with their father when they were 5 years old. It's great to hear those stories, and actually, it's fantastic that they're coming back and seeing the work we've done and seeing how much of an improvement's been made.
So much more space. You can see that there's room for
it's been
air to flow across it.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the look of the wooded type edge, but the fact is there's just less air can flow across the water, and this is better for the fish.
Absolutely.
It's just better,
the wind blows down the valley, so we've kept the dams clear, and that's great for the fish, obviously, and great for the oxygen levels. So we're getting there. Still a work in progress.
Yes, that's one of those things. You were saying earlier, you don't get to fish yourself.
No, absolutely. Don't have time to do that.
God bless. Mr. Roy Young, third generation aristocrat here at Seven Lakes Fishery. Thank you so much, sir. Here's to enormous success and your fish growing to enormous proportions, Governor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cheers.